You're watching Andy Tube, and this is part 26 of a Singer Model 404 restoration series. And it's time now to start working around the bobbin holder, bobbin hook area. And before I start reinstalling parts in the area, I like to test the actual hook and hook point to see if there's any burrs on the hook or any needle strikes, or if the hook is damaged. So I get good lighting and I get the hook lined up where it's comfortable for me to see and work on a little bit. In the video here, I've put it over here. This is the actual point of the hook, so that I think you'll be able to see it and see what I'm doing. There's the hook right there. And burrs can happen just if the hook has had a lot of use. I think especially with metallic type threads. But needle strikes, of course, is just when the needle has actually hit the hook because of a timing issue, or somebody forcing the fabric through instead of letting the feed dog pull it through, or maybe the needle is bent and causes a needle strike. So I've already looked at it through a magnifying glass, and I don't see any damage. But the other thing I like to do is to take a sharp edge. This is just the X-Acto knife, or a single blade, razor blade, or something with a pretty fine edge, and I will gently drag it off the point of the hook, and I mean just barely rest it on there, and see if it snags, or if I feel a little skip or vibration as it goes over a burr or a needle strike. So I found that's a pretty good way for me to see or to feel more than see. And this is going real smooth. I'm just gently dragging it along, and I don't feel it skipping or catching or anything like that. And I hold the blade probably at about a 60-degree angle to the hook point, 60 to 45 maybe, and it feels real good. I'll go on the inside of the point there to make sure. Yeah, so that went well in my opinion. The other thing I like to do is drag a thread over the hook, because that's what the hook does. Is, it takes that needle thread and wraps it around the bobbin thread. And if I have it, I like to use the old mercerized cotton thread. And over the years, I've collected some of it. When I've bought a machine, there'll be old cotton thread. And I like the cotton thread for this test because it's kind of fluffy and linty, and it's not as smooth as the new polyester threads. So if there are very small scratches or burrs or needle strikes, it tends to catch on them. If I don't have the cotton thread handy, I'll just use the polyester, and I use the thinnest, cheapest I have in my drawer, because the smaller the thread, the more likely it may catch. And I'm just going to go down and hook that thread. I hope this thread's showing up. I'm going to hook the thread into the hook and kind of pull it back towards the needle bar area to get it on the hook, and then I'm slowly going to just drag it off the tip. And I have to put enough pressure on it so that it actually contacts the hook all the way down, and I have found little burrs doing this that I could not see and could not feel with a razor. And I had a retired Singer repairman that I met years ago. I'm in Arizona, and he's a snowbird. He was a winter visitor from Canada. And somehow we hooked up and started talking, and he was talking to me about this. And so I'll just go in there and drag it a few times and make sure it slides right off, because that, like I said, that's what's going to happen when that hook comes around and snatches that needle thread. It's going to take it in a circle down to the cast off area, and if there's a burr on that hook, it could hang up the thread and not cast it off at the right time, and you could start getting tangles in bird's nests. So if I was sewing, it would grab that thread and it would bring it around down to the cast off area about 6 o'clock and drop it off. So I've used the razor and I've used the thread, and I don't feel any burrs. And that kind of goes with the overall condition of this machine. It was used, but it wasn't beat up. So I positioned the hook back over here. Now, the other thing is, what if you find a burr or a needle strike? And what if you're dragging your thread and it does catch it? What I try is a little, I don't know what's that, less than a 1/4 inch wide strip of a fine sandpaper, and this is about, I think it's about 800 or 900 grit. I bought a big old sheet of it, 12 or 14 inch, I don't know, whatever size they are at the Ace Hardware store. And I'll actually sand or polish down the hook with it, and I've done this before with good success. So I'll get the paper positioned inside that hook, and I'll hold the ends of it back towards the needle area, because that's the angle, and I'll start sanding back and forth gently and work my way towards the tip of the point and right off the end of the point. Blink, like that. And depending on how bad the burr or the needle strike was, I might do that 30 times or 200 times. But the pretty significant burrs, I mean, you can even tell when you're sanding it when you hit that spot. So as you keep doing it and coming off the tip, you'll feel it's getting smoother and smoother and smoother. When you get to the very tip, don't drag it over the tip, drag it kind of off it, because you don't want to blunt the little, that's a real sharp. If you've ever been hit by a hook, a spinning hook, it'll get you like a fishing hook. And usually I've been able to rescue or save most of the hooks that have, light to moderate damage. So it's kind of painstaking, and it's a slow, but you can buy a new hook, for 15 or 20 bucks. But so I've had a couple hooks that I couldn't rescue, that were just damaged too bad. I mean, the whole point was bent out and stuff. And you can buy used hooks, from sellers online, 15 to 20 bucks. I think in that range. But I like to rescue the hook if I can, because this rail and stuff that the bobbin case rides on and this hook have worn together over the years. And if you get a different hook and put the original bobbin case for this machine in it, you can encounter some problems where it's noisy and jittery. And then I've had to use valve grinding solutions and grind them down together to smooth them out. So the second time I did it, I was lucky that the seller was selling the hook and bobbin case together. So I just bought it, and I kept the old bobbin case as a spare. And they were already kind of had their wear pattern, you know, and they worked real good. So I think I got that hook from thriftyfarmgirl.com, and I've mentioned her, I think, in other videos, and I'll put a notice in the information section on this video, thriftyfarmgirl.com. And I was looking at her site a few days ago, and she does have about 20 404 parts, along with many other vintage parts. But she's been a real good source for me, so if you happen to be looking for any 404 parts or others, just check her out. Her name's Connie McCaffrey, thriftyfarmgirl.com. Otherwise, my hook this one is real good. I'm happy with it. It's smooth. I didn't see or feel any damage or problems to it. So that's going to wrap up this video. And then I can start installing all these parts in here and talk about them and how to adjust them as the videos continue on. Thanks for watching, and take care.